There are stories that are so wild that they are almost unbelievable, but as today's story proves, truth is stranger than fiction. Today's story is about a fearless man from Florida, and undoubtedly, it's one of the bravest tales you've ever heard. Witness how a bear was on the verge of drowning and what the man did to save the day for every animal lover. Often there are small animals in need of our help, but when it comes to a massive creature that can typically take care of itself, it's a whole different story. Today we're talking about an incredible, massive black bear. This impressive animal weighed around 180 kilograms and stood approximately 2 meters tall. Bears are not usually the ones in great danger, but this black bear found itself in a dire situation. Without the help of a brave man, it surely would have perished. Bears have an incredible sense of smell and a voracious appetite. That's why campers in the wilderness where bears reside are often warned to secure their food and waste properly, or they might receive a visit from a very hungry and dangerous bear. Bears don't typically approach humans, but as we continue to destroy their natural habitats, wild bears migrate to areas where humans reside. And since human homes are often filled with things that smell delicious and are enticing to bears, these creatures decide to wander into these areas in hopes of finding a snack. Some bears even lose their fear of humans completely, which can lead to disaster if they keep returning to residential areas. That's why wildlife authorities act swiftly to relocate wandering bears back to where they came from. They don't want the bears to become too accustomed to staying in human areas. One day, the residents of Florida noticed a gigantic black bear wandering through the streets in search of food. He wasn't looking for trouble, just snacks. Perhaps he had strayed from the nearby Osceola National Forest near Lake City, hungry and doing what any intelligent bear would do. He was seen rummaging through people's trash and trying to fend for himself. He hadn't caused any harm yet, but the wildlife authorities knew they had to tranquilize him. At home, one might wonder why they couldn't simply wait for the bear to return from the residential area and take the same path back home. That would be safer for both the people living in the area and the bear itself. But why would the bear ever leave such a cozy situation? It's ideal for the bear because there's food to be found everywhere. Working with wild animals always carries risks. They don't always react as desired, and they can completely surprise you. That's exactly what happened with the bear. The rescue team followed the bear from a distance, and when he reached a point where they could safely capture him, they shot an arrow at him. They expected him to fall asleep, but the arrows don't always take effect immediately. Adrenaline can keep an animal awake longer than anticipated. In this case, something went wrong. Thankfully, such drastic mistakes don't happen often, and it's still one of the most humane methods of working with wild animals. However, there's always room for error, and in this rescue operation, all the circumstances seem to align, leading to a potential tragedy. The bear was having a peaceful day when suddenly humans appeared and started shooting at him. It startled him so much that his adrenaline skyrocketed and he ran away to escape from the people chasing him. The bear was already feeling dizzy and simply knew he had to get away from the perceived danger of humans. He knew exactly where he could elude them, straight into the Gulf of Mexico. Bears are strong swimmers, and while their bodies are powerful, water is often their preferred place. So it made sense for the bear to think that this would be a safe spot for him. The only problem was that the arrow began to take effect when he was already in deep water. Under normal circumstances, he could have escaped, but in deep water, he would simply drown if he became unconscious. The rescuers were horrified because it looked like they would have to witness a bear whom they only wanted to help drown, and it would be their fault. The bear was just awake enough to pose a serious threat, and for seconds it seemed like everyone was at a loss for what to do, except for one man. Biologist Adam Warwick knew he couldn't stand idly by and watch the bear drown. He didn't have time to think about a sensible approach, because rational thinking would only make him realize how crazy his next steps would be. He took off his shirt and shoes and jumped in after the bear. He knew he had to catch him, even though it was very risky to get so close to the bear. In his panic, the bear could have easily killed Adam, but he allowed him to wrap his arm around his neck and pull him to shore. This was a massive animal, and under normal circumstances, Adam would never have gotten so close and would never have been able to pull his weight. But adrenaline surged, and the water helped bear the enormous weight of the bear. There were some frightening moments as the bear tried to climb onto Adam to save itself from drowning. But Adam managed to regain control over the massive creature and bring it to the shore. In the process, he cut his feet on the rocks at the riverbed, but the bear didn't harm him. In the pictures, it looks like a lifeguard rescuing an exhausted swimmer, except the swimmer is a massive bear. As they approached the shore, Adam grew tired, and the bear became too heavy to carry alone. But then colleagues arrived and together they helped bring the bear close to the shore. Using a tractor shovel, they lifted it up and placed it in the transport vehicle that would take it back home. At that point, Adam was too invested to simply part ways with the exhausted bear. He accompanied it to the national forest. He could witness with his own eyes as the bear he had rescued woke up and happily went back into the woods. He was relieved and hopeful that the ordeal would instill enough fear in the bear to keep it away from populated areas.